A year ago tomorrow, former Border Patrol agents Ignacio Ramos and Jose Campeon reported to federal prison. They began serving their sentences of more than a decade for shooting and wounding an illegal alien drug smuggler. That drug smuggler given immunity by the U.S. attorney in exchange for his testimony against the two agents. We've reported extensively here on a miscarriage of justice that's all but unparalleled in this country's history. And we will continue to do so as we follow the story of these two men serving harsh prison sentences for simply doing their jobs. Casey Wyan has our report.
Already a year has passed since Ignacio Ramos and Jose Campeon began paying for something that happened more than 2 years ago. While on patrol near the Mexican border, they shot and wounded a man who turned out to be a drug smuggler. While the Bush administration protected the victim, admitted drug smuggler Osvaldo Aldrete Davila with immunity, they treated the agents as violent criminals, belatedly adding a weapons charge carrying a 10-year mandatory minimum sentence. They also prevented the jury from hearing about Davila's drug smuggling history. They were convicted on charges that included assault with a dangerous weapon and tampering with an official proceeding. But it's the victim's drug smuggling history that is now a key issue in their appeal.
I would rank the limitation of the cross-examination of Davila and the inability to get before the jury the true facts and circumstances surrounding Davila as perhaps one of the strongest reversible errors I've ever seen in 30 years of practicing law.
2 of 3 appellate judges now considering the Ramos and Campeon case criticized prosecutors for an overzealous prosecution. Attorneys for the agents are seeking either an acquittal or new trial. Congressional efforts to free the agents have all stalled.
We've done all we can. The President of the United States was the one person who could have done something to bring justice to this horrible case. He chose not to do so, and in doing so, he exposed an arrogance and cruelness of his personality that won't soon be forgotten.
Davila, who allegedly continued to smuggle drugs across the border while under federal immunity, was arrested in November and charged with smuggling drugs into the United States. As for the agents, family members say they received hundreds of cards and letters in prison during the holidays from supporters. Their best hope now remains with the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in New Orleans, which is expected to reach a decision within 45 days. Lou?
And to just further emphasize, the fact is Davila was charged with making those drug runs leading up to the trial before he actually testified against these agents.
Absolutely. The government prosecutors knew full well that he was engaged in drug smuggling, continuing to engage in drug smuggling while this trial was going on. Also, he was doing it likely with the aid of a border crossing card given to him by federal prosecutors so he could testify against the agents. Absolutely outrageous, Lou.
And in your reporting and reporting of all our colleagues here, showing that card, and the opportunity given them by the U.S. attorney. This represents, as I've said time and time again, one of the worst miscarriages of justice, but that it was carried out against men sworn to enforce our laws and to secure our borders. It makes it even more reprehensible to me, the fact that this court system has not yet acted. This appellate court has an opportunity to right things, and we certainly must hope so. But the fact that this president, his Justice Department, carried out this prosecution, and this president hasn't got the capacity of character, the generosity of at least the spirit to care about what has happened to these men under his administration, to me, compounds his crime against justice and the American way. It is truly disgusting.
And baffling, Lou.
Well, we'll get this all unwound, and hopefully as we proceed, we're going to find out about the motivation of those who carried out this prosecution and insisted upon it. Casey, thank you very much. Casey Wyan. Let's take a look now at some of your thoughts. Mike in Florida wrote in about the campaign events held in Spanish in Nevada. Lou, just how much pandering are we supposed to put up with? I thought this was America, where we conduct our business in English. Did Nevada all of a sudden secede to Mexico? Gerald in Texas. Lou, almost all those morons that are running for president have been in the Congress or on the federal payroll most of their lives. Why the heck haven't they noticed before now that something is wrong in the United States? If they have ideas how to fix it now, what have they been doing all those years? Excellent questions and observations, in my opinion. We'll have more of your thoughts here later in the broadcast. Each of you whose email is read here receives a copy of my new book, Independence Day, Awakening the American Spirit, the book that corporate America, the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, and all of the establishment elites just don't want you to read. They don't want you to even think about reading it. They don't want you to think. Coming up next, Republican and Democratic presidential candidates learn some tough lessons from the Michigan primary.